Gordon Sawyer, former naval officer who served in World War II, came to Gainesville to work at the Poultry Times. He had a second and third career after retiring from his advertising agency, authoring multiple books and serving as a local historian and radio personality. His Common Sense Chronicles on the local radio station were a mixture of history, humor, and his unique views on the world and the Northeast Georgia community.
Loved doing his radio show, he really did. And half of it was political, half of it was his history from his window on Green Street. And it was always funny. He always ended it with, "May the wind always be at your back."
Pneumonia landed the otherwise healthy 89-year-old in the hospital, where his health quickly deteriorated. When Gordon showed no signs of improving, the family made the difficult decision to honor his wishes and remove artificial life support.
We knew he had some medical directives. He did have his directives about that he didn't want to be maintained artificially and things like that, very specific about that, and that he and Jean had those conversations and they had planned about that. And she was very aware of those things and reminded the doctors, and so that became a kindness for all of us that we weren't trying to make those decisions. Everything we did, we felt like we were walking in the path he had set.
Two things have happened over the last 25 years. One is we have many more options for medical interventions than we used to. The other thing is that we can treat people when they can no longer tell us what they want. So now we can ventilate people with drugs. There was a day and time when families talked about this. This is what I want, this is what I don't want, because life was short and you had to make those plans. But nowadays, it's almost like that we think that we don't have to make these plans because they're going to go on and on and on, and we'll worry about that later.
During a time of terrible crisis, as they watch loved ones struggle, family members are wrestling internally, fighting amongst themselves, and adding to their already tremendous grief. The Medical Center Foundation's current Healthy Journey campaign includes an initiative for $250,000 to cover the initial costs of training local leaders to implement the Gunderson Respecting Choices planning model in our community.
We chose Respecting Choices because it's basically the gold standard. It is recognized both throughout this country and actually in Europe and Australia. It is a program that helps families talk and communities talk about the whole issue of the need to plan for what we want for our health care. It is a great program. It's used a great deal in many areas. So it's not just families talking, but it's churches talking, community groups talking, civics groups talking. It is a way that we can all share, this is who we are and this is what we want.
They live at Lanier Village, and that he could go back and be in this place on this respirator, and usually it would take like a month for them to die on that. And Jean said, this isn't what he wanted. We have papers saying that's not how this is supposed to be. And so it wound up being a comfort instead of a hard thing. And then there was a point where he was disconnected from that, and then we went in together as a family and sat with him for the last hour. That was the gift, that it was how he wanted it to play out. He was a great dad and father-in-law. He, most encourager, most positive person I've ever known.